All right, this is a replay of reflection instruction that we did today. And so I'm going to show you what is on your practice part and what to do with each point, okay, as we reflect it. Then I'm going to go over the odds in the next video. All right, so we're starting here and we're wanting to reflect, again, reflect at the x-axis, okay? So this is where the x is at, right at the x-axis. So if I notice that whenever I reflect across the x-axis, first thing I want to look at, okay, is that all my x's stay the same. Okay, so I have an x here at -4, -4x right there. 4 here, okay, 4 here. Then 5 here, 5 here. So, none of my x's change when I'm reflecting across the x-axis. So, the only thing that's going to change then is my y. Now, if you look, I have a 2 here, a -2 here. I have a 1 here and a -1 here. I have a 7 here and a -7 down here. So with each one, I am seeing that my y value changes its sign. And that's going to be true whenever we are reflecting here and here across the x-axis. So if I take a look at the second part, okay, and I look at, if I see the x-axis there, okay, where again, we're reflecting across the x-axis, okay, all of my values, okay, all of my x values do not change. And then my y values change their sign. So w at -4 is now +4. Y at -4 is now at 4. X at -2, x at 2. -6, 6. That's when we reflect across the x-axis. Now we look over here at number 3, and what happens when we reflect across the y-axis. Okay? Well, all of my y's stay the same. When I reflect across the y-axis, all of my y's stay the same. And let's take a look at my x's. Okay? Well, now they change their sign. So the same concept here as in the other, okay, to where when we were reflecting across the x-axis, and so now when we reflect across the y-axis, okay, the only thing that changes is the sign of my x, and my y stay the same. So on y-axis, x, y stay the same. On the y-axis, y stay the same, and my x's change their sign. When I'm reflecting across the x-axis, all my x's stay the same, and all my y's change their sign. So then, when you have these 4 points in, it's no problem to graph it, because you already know what your 4 points are. Now, what about when we reflect where x is a number? What do we do when we reflect when x is a number? I'm sorry, having a hard time lining that up. All right, so now we're reflecting where x is 4. Okay? Now, when my x is 4, Okay, that's going to be right here. So it's very similar to when I reflect across my y-axis, except when I'm reflecting here where x is a number, okay, again, all my y's stay the same. When I reflect when x is a number. When x is a number, not when it's in the x-axis, but when x is a number, okay, all of my y's do not change. Then, with my x's, I count over how far I am from this axis of symmetry. So I start with k. K is 2. I count over 2. 1, 2. So I went to the right 2. So if this is at 2, I count over 2. That's going to put it at 4. Count over 2 more, and that's going to put me where x is 6. Now take a look at j. J is 1. I count to the axis of symmetry. 1, 2, 3. So it took me 3 spots to move that over. So now I'm going to move 3 more spots. 1, 2, 3. So I've moved a total of 6 spots. I add that to 1, and j is 7. So now we're L is 3. Okay? L is 3. I count how many spots I am from the axis of symmetry, which is 1. And so I count over 1, count over 1 more there, and so that's going to go from 3 to 5. Okay, so when x is a number, my y stayed the same, and I count how far this point is from the axis, and then count the same amount to find the new point. Let's take a look at 6. Okay, I have my 4 points. X is negative 1. So there's my axis of symmetry where x is negative 1. I start with R. R is at 0. Now again, all my y's stay the same when x is a number. Okay, not when x is the axis, but when x is a number. Okay, my y's stay the same, and I'm just looking at my axis. So x is 0. I count to the line of symmetry, minus 1. And so then if it took me 1 over here, I got to go 1 over here. Okay, and so that's going to give me negative 2. Now on S, I've got to count all the way over from point S, right here, okay, to my axis of symmetry here. So I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I counted 6 over, now I got to count another 6 over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so basically, I had to move an entire amount of 12. So where S is 5, subtract 12, and I get negative 7. Now, where T is, I've got 6. Okay, I'm going to count all the way over to negative 1, and so that's going to be a total of 7 spots. Then I count 7 spots over this way. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so this time I moved a total of 14. So 6 minus 14 is negative 8. And then U, I count over 2 spots, count over another 2 spots. So this is negative 1, negative 2, negative 2. And there's my x. So that's when x is a number. Now we're going to look at when y is a number. Okay, so now I'm at y. Where? I have my 4 points. Okay? Now, I'm counting where, here's my axis of symmetry. Now this time, where y is a number, okay, all of my x's keep their values. All of my x's keep their values, so I'm just looking at y. So now, if it's negative 4 on point C, okay, and I count up to the axis of symmetry here, so I count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so now I got to count another 6 up from here. Well, if this is where y is 2 and I count up 6, so now c prime is going to be 8. Okay? So c is 8. Now my x again does not change when y is a number. So now I'm going to look at z. My x hasn't changed, so I'm looking at my y. Okay, z is on 0. I count up 2 to get to the axis of symmetry. Then I count up another 2 to get to my new point. And so that's going to go from 0, where, sorry, I lost myself there, where point D, sorry, x is negative 2, yes, and y is 4. Alright, so now, looking at point E, okay, my x's don't change, changing my y value. I go up 1, okay, from 1 to 2, axis of symmetry. So if it's one spot here, I got to count one spot up here to get to the new one. That's going to be at 3. Then F, x doesn't change. I'm just changing my y's. I'm at 7. I count up to my axis of symmetry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I'm going to count up another 5, and that's going to give me 7. All right. So that's where we have axis of symmetry. We have looked at where x is a number. We've looked at where y is a number. We've looked at the x-axis. We've looked at the y-axis. Okay, now we're looking at what happens when we reflect across a diagonal line. And pretty much it's either going to be y equals x, okay, or in the next example, you're going to see where y is equal to negative x. Okay, so if I'm taking a look at x, if I'm taking a look at 9, okay, my x's and y's, okay, look at what's happening here. I have negative 5 and negative 2. When I reflect across where y is x, then look at what happened to my point. All they did was flip. Well, let's see if that continues on. So here's my y point. Here's my original. There it is right there, graph. Here it is in coordinate. Here's the coordinate. So now, if I'm flipping across y equals x, well, flip my numbers. Then on part z, okay, I have negative 1 and 1. Okay, reflecting on y is x, and now my numbers flip. All right, so now let's take a look at where y is negative x. Where y is negative x. And so this one, your numbers are going to flip as well. Okay, where y is negative x, your numbers are going to flip as well, but this time, you also have to flip the sign. Okay, so I'm going to cover up, okay, letter A. I see negative 1 and 3. So I know my numbers have to flip. So that's going to be 3 and 1. And then I have to flip the sign. So that means it's going to be negative 3 and positive 1. And sure enough, there it is. Okay, part B. Okay, 0 and 6. They're going to flip. So now it's going to be 6 and 0, with 6 being negative. Part C, 3 and 5, they're going to flip. So now I have negative 5, negative 3. Then taking a look at D, T, okay, they're going to flip, and it's going to be negative 2 and negative 2. All right, so that is the explanation, instruction on reflecting with the x-axis, the y-axis, when x is a number, when y is a number, and when y equals x, and when y equals negative x.